So we're on this Prius here, and I'm going to show you a little something on refrigerant. This is empty. This is the liquid line going down. Well, it's liquid refrigerant going down to the tank. And right now it's emptied out into the vehicle. Now you can see the low side, you can see the high side. See, it's 126 PSI on the high side right now. So let's open up this high side and dump just this much refrigerant into the hose and watch the high side. Boom. It was 127. Got too much glare there, sorry guys. Now it's 121. That is just by dumping this refrigerant right here. What did it do on the subcooling or superheat? Oh, let's find out. Okay, so now we have the refrigerant trapped in this line. There's liquid refrigerant in here. So we got a 13 superheat, subcooling. We got a 119 high side on the high side. So let's open the liquid and let this liquid from this hose right there get sucked in to the low side. Now watch the superheat, watch the high side. There we go. Look at the high side. Look at the superheat. Just that little tiny bit. Check out that, subcooling. Why do I keep saying superheat? Check out that subcooling. Just from the amount of refrigerant from a hose. All right, I just wanted to show you that. Pressure, temperature, and the only quantity in this little tiny hose. And this hose, the interior of the diameter of this hose is a little bit smaller than your standard size hoses. They have an extra liner in here, and the interior diameter I notice is a little smaller than regular hoses. So there's actually less refrigerant in this hose than a standard yellow jacket hose. And it does that. It goes from 13 to 16. It goes from 19 to 22, just with this tiny amount of refrigerant. Now I've done other ones where it comes in with 440 PSI and it's constantly kicking off the compressor. And I load up one hose, it goes down to like 400 PSI. I load up the second hose, it went down to 300 and something. And by the time I loaded up the third hose with the refrigerant, went all the way down to like 290, 280, but still worked really good, but at least it wasn't cycling out the compressor. On Priuses, on small things that have really small capacity refrigerant, and this is not even the smallest, some are even smaller. You have some vehicles that have 340 or 370 grams of refrigerant. The smaller the refrigerant quantity, the more sensitive it is to overcharge or undercharge. And it's cool out right now. It's only 79 degrees. On a hot day, this would skyrocket more, and it would be worse. This is an OEM condenser. If this was not an OEM, it was one of the bad, cheap aftermarket ones, this high side pressure wouldn't have went to 120 when I put that extra, say 30 grams inside the system. It would have went all the way up to like 150, 160. And if I would have put 2 extra ounces in there, it'll go to 200 and something. But the normal pressure should be, because I intentionally put one hose too much refrigerant in there on purpose, just to show you this, because this should be this. Let's cut that down. Has to stabilize. All the refrigerant throughout the whole system has to stabilize. Anytime you put in refrigerant or you take out a refrigerant, it isn't exactly instant. And there we go. A little bit of refrigerant makes a big difference. Now, if this was a 90 or 100 degree day and I put an extra ounce on top of the maximum factory, it would skyrocket the high side pressure. And if it was an aftermarket condenser, a really poor performing aftermarket condenser, you would suffer poor cooling out of the dash in really hot environments like Utah and Arizona and Texas during the summer.